So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people, and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about, and he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history, and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunity, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, the ACP would have been together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this.
It's Monday, December 15th. Do you know what time it is? It's Sharpton time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or front. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners, and welcome to those listening on Sirius XM Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. And for the next 3 hours, you can join the conversation by calling us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can, of course, go to the message board at nationalactionnetwork.net, live stream, and send a message in. We I see already on the message board, Darius Miller saying, "Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton, listening and watching you while flying on the plane. Thank God for the internet and technology on the airplane." All right, Darius, in the air watching us. I'm safe trip, Darius, and thank you for the note. Prayer Carrington, Pereira Carrington says, "Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton and live stream audience. My condolences to both Rob Reiner's family, other children, and his wife's family and friends of this loss." Let me say, I join you in that, and I want you to know something that is sick. Rob Reiner, who all of us knew as an actor and a director, and he was an activist. I've met him several times. Died, he and his wife, it was reported homicide. They do not know the cause of death yet, or they know the cause was homicide. They've not released any suspects or reason that has been reported. But Donald Trump, President of the United States, put this out on his Twitter. He tweeted this out. And I'm reading the tweet. Donald J. Trump, at Real Donald Trump. "A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling, but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have been driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness. And with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace." I mean, every time I think that I've heard it all from this president, he does something else that is mind boggling. I mean, this is about as sick a rant as I've ever read, witnessed. I mean, this is actually sick. 2 people found dead. They've not come up with the motive. And the president's going to mock him, saying he had Trump deranged syndrome. And I mean, I don't even know where to start. And that and goes on to brag about how America's greatness is returning under Trump, and it's just on and on and on. I really am really concerned that this president is going over the deep end. I mean, who does that in the middle of someone being murdered for whatever reason, and use that to say that their problem was him, and that he had a mind disorder about him and drove people crazy? And I just I am one of the longest standing critics of President Trump, and I'm speechless. Uh, I I never thought he was this gone. Every time you think he's reached the bottom of the barrel, uh, he does something else, because this is irrational. I don't care how critical someone was of me. Uh, how could I do that if they were killed, them and their wife? Why would I have this kind of response? The family's not even had a day of mourning. I'm almost at a loss for words, and I brought it up because uh, it was on our message board about condolences to him and his family as is appropriate. But since I read that, I had to let you know that the president, I really, really am concerned about his state of mind. I really am. Uh, but a lot has happened this weekend. Certainly, the Rhinos is certainly of concern to me and should be concerned to everyone. And I also am concerned about the people, the families in the families of the deceased from the attack at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. And as far as we know, there they had a person of interest uh, that they had held, and people assumed, including me, that that this person of interest was going to end up being the suspect, and they've released him. Apparently, he's not the suspect, and I think that it is even more outrageous to people that they have not been able to find a suspect as of yet, and more concerning. And then at the same time, uh, you have the shooting, the mass shooting on the first day of Hanukkah in Australia. Obviously, an anti-Semitic shooting, killing, and it was a Muslim that disarmed uh, the person that was caught. It was a father and son. What was striking is that Australia has some of the strongest gun laws, and the guns that were retrieved were licensed guns to the father. So, and I did Morning Joe for a half hour this morning. Obviously, and my show yesterday, obviously, the rise of anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and racism is on the rise. bigotry, bias, whether it's against Muslims, Jews, or blacks, are on the rise. Hate is being normalized when you have people that can, based on nationality, start sending ICE out. This is we are at a race to the bottom. Let's talk about that. It's Hot Button Monday. Whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart, let's talk it out. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back. Keeping it real.
It's been a long time coming, but I know
1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
When they came for the dream.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We're going to organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Black Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, it's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are. Because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. Democrats have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
Rev, you know you were right there
From the beginning.
with the stuff that
Yep.
was going on in Brooklyn at
Yep.
that time at
Yep.
Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, but I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. We've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene you saw
Yep.
Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now let me ask a question.
Yep.
What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair,
And
man.
you had the head on.
Yeah, it was.
Denzel,
Denzel.
yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut. So we went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK.
We have a short visit today. So we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Right, our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses. Good to see you again, sir. It's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you
you.
been?
Doing fine. Good.
Front last time, and we
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have the slavery.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And of course, you can go to live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. Live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net and put in a message, and we will read your message over the air. Now, let me read. Darrell Prunty says, how can the Republican House and Senate leaders sit back and let their presidential leader act this way? and not rein him in. They're just as bad as Trump. If you're that scared, resign from office. I mean, every time I think I've heard it all, he comes with something else. Now, I understand they've arrested the son of Bob Rayner and Mrs. Rayner, but to act like this man was attacked, that Rayner was killed because of this man had Trump derangement. I mean, what does he, without waiting for an investigation, without seeing what happened? So is he now going to say if in fact it ends up that their son did this for whatever domestic whatever reason? I don't even want to guess. Is he going to say that he did it because his son felt some kind of way about Trump? I mean, there is a thing called narcissism. But this is beyond that, to think everything is about you. And this is a guy we have walking around that has access to the nuclear weapons button, and that's negotiating trade deals, military deals with foreign companies. And all he thinks is that the earth, the sun, the moon, and the planets rotate around him. I mean, it's sick. And I think that we all need to take a pause and see what we're dealing with here. I think that it is sick. We also dealing with madness, as I said, the rise of anti-Semitism, racism, homophobia, Islamophobiaism. Every couple of days, we're seeing attacks based on one of them, and all of them are wrong. And let me tell you something: you can't be against those that are anti-black and say, but it's all right to be anti-gay, or it's all right to be anti-Jewish, or it's anti-Muslim. Hate is hate. Now, you may have the right in this country to hate. You don't have the right to kill people, bomb people, destroy people, or discriminate against people. I know people talk, well, I just don't like so-and-so. All right, fine. But you had the right to come on the eve of Hanukkah and just start shooting them. Or on the eve of Christmas and shoot Christians. Or on the eve of a black convention and shoot blacks. Or go where people are going to Mecca for Hajj and shoot them. Because once you start that, you're dealing with a world where anybody can do anything to anybody based on who they are, and that's sick. So when I heard about the attack in Australia, when I heard about the attacks in Australia and denounced it, right away I reached out to Jewish leaders and expressed my concern, as I've done in the past. And as I have said in the past, and I will continue to do that. And I think that it is important that we stand up. But it's just as important for us to raise that it was a Muslim that disarmed one of the assailants. And then the madness at Brown University. I remember a time that you could say, well, my kids are all right, they're off to school. Now you got to worry to death. Worry yourself to death, I think is the expression. And maybe I shouldn't even be using that expression given what's going on. About, are your kids safe? This Brown University is established, well reputed university, and just happened there. So let's talk about the fact this country with all of these things will not deal with gun violence and will not deal with any of the gun laws at all. So let's go to the phones, deal with all of this going on. This is Hot Button Monday. Let me remind you, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time every Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We had two good shows this weekend. I had Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett on. I had her opponent on in the Democratic primary, being fair to both sides. I had on Congressman Horsford. And of course, we had to deal with the incoming news of what had happened at Brown University. But we still did our shows both nights every week. Watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSN, on MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC. I'm still adjusting myself to MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC. Then don't forget on Saturdays, you that are in the tri-state area, come and be with me at the Saturday Action Rally at the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the village of Harlem, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. If you're not in New York, you can watch it live on the Impact Television or on nationalactionnetwork.net, our live stream. Let me say in advance, this Saturday I will be there and giving my Christmas message. And then Christmas Day, we'll be feeding, having family, free dinner there at the House of Justice starting 11 in the morning. We start serving people, homeless people, seniors that don't have family to be with Christmas. We have toys for kids. Many of our elected officials join us. So I'm telling you in advance that you around the country, you want to help come serve or in some way, if you want to be part of having Christmas, you don't have family to have Christmas dinner with, have it with me. I'm there all day from 11 o'clock at the House of Justice on Christmas Day. That's 25th, 10 days from now. All right, let's get ready to take our break, and then we'll open up the phones, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go on the live stream page and give me a message on the message board. We'll be right back. What's up?
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. you have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions. This whole fight around DEI, which they did, started in Harvard with a black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, the ACP would have been together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in this.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about it.
It's about teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we mold them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving them the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, you know, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be is a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game, because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, well, to them, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid, because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Don't say hopeless. Then we'll say we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, try it. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think Living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say it.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid, you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on.
Keeping
And
it
crime
real
is
on
over
your host.
national defense.
Reverend Al
Russia,
Sharpton.
China, outside the
Hot Button Monday. Whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart. Let's go to the phones. Let's start off the week right by going to Chicago to my dear friend, the beloved Miss Eunice. Miss Eunice, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Rev. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I am doing excellent, Reverend. It's a little cold, but that doesn't mean anything. Got to have seasons. And my condolences go out to the Rauner family also. And you know, Rev, but life means nothing to Trump. Remember, he made a statement some time ago that in the old days, we used to take people out and clean them up. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and Trump is a sick man and over the top. He needs some counseling if that would help. And I do recall that a group of, I think, psychologists came on and they analyzed Trump when he first got in. And it's a shame that we have to continue to go through with this. And I'd like to know when are Republicans going to stand up and get a spine, because he may be your guy, but at some point you need to stop him, because this guy will never stop on his own. He is the only one that thinks that he is right and can say what he wants. And I thought the same thing as you. With this nuclear program and other things, Trump has nowhere being near decision making. And thank you for taking my call, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, as always, for kicking us off, and you have a great afternoon. Let's go to Demetrius in Cleveland, Ohio. Demetrius.
Hey, thank you, Reverend Sharpton. Yeah, it's always good conversing with you, talking to you. First of all, I just like to say, Donald Trump comments about, Robert Reiner, his unfortunate death. To me, when someone says something like that, that would encourage people, to go out and commit crimes. Because the way he said it is like what happened to Mr. Reiner was because of his speeches against Donald Trump and his administration. So when Donald Trump said, he brought this on himself, to me, that endorsed other people, some people go out and commit crimes with anyone who disagrees with Donald Trump. Even though that was his intention or not, you can't use rhetoric like that, because some people go out and commit crimes just because they feel like that's what Donald Trump want them to do. And also concerning, with the oil tanker that was seized by the United States off the coast of Venezuela, to me, that's unjustified, because, when the United States bombed, the so-called pirates off the east coast of Africa, off the coast of Somalia, and off the coast of Ethiopia, because they said they was pirates. Now, to me, this administration doing the same thing, seizing oil tankers illegally outside of Venezuela, and we don't know what happened to the oil. According to Donald Trump, when they asked him where the oil is going to go to, he just said, "Well, it's going to come to our ports." He didn't say where the oil money going to go to when the oil is sold or oil going to be stored. So to me, that is a form of piracy, just like Maduro said, the president of Venezuela, because that the oil profits going to be made. It's not going to any type of fund, or might be returned to Venezuela sometime in the future. That oil is just going straight to someone's pockets, just like someone a pirate, piracy outside of the country, Blackbeard pirate and so forth. What they did, it's no difference. So to me, it is piracy. according to what Maduro said. And lastly, I'm glad that Indiana's legislature stood up, last week and voted down the redistricting proposal, even though Donald Trump threatened them and said if they didn't go along with it, he was going to endorse other candidates to take their office. But yet they stood up because they knew, partly because they knew it was an illegal, procedure, to redistrict the different districts just to favor the Republican Party. You have to follow the legislation according to the Constitution. This country can't be ruled by threats, intimidation by one person, either by words or either by action. It has to be ruled by justice and by democracy, what the Constitution was based on. Even though some of the legislatures might have not followed because they knew he was going to be a lame duck president, in the next couple of months or so, another year. But at the same time, they did stood up for what was right. They didn't want to illegally redistrict the state of Indiana just to fail Republicans. So when they have a majority again in Congress during the next term. Okay, thank you very much, Sharpton.
All right, thank you for your call. As always, good to hear your voice. Let me go to Wale in Manhattan, New York. Wale.
I like the way you say my name, Rev. So listen, Thanksgiving, that meatloaf was good. Let me let you know. I know you don't eat that food.
No.
But that food y'all be having is so good. But that's not why I called. But that food be real good. Let me let you know. Okay, so we had a mass shooting in Brooklyn, Reverend Al Sharp. It was a 16, what they call them, Sweet 16 birthday.
Okay.
This happened in Brooklyn, Atlantic Avenue, some place called Champagne Room, Crystal Room. Okay, at least that's what when they showed it on the news. But I think it was a different name of the place, Euphorium, something like that. But the name that they showed on the news was those two names. 1:30 in the morning. Now, this is a 15 and 16-year-olds. I'm sure you can date back when you was 15, 16.
Right.
Your parents knew where the heck you was at. Okay. So anyway, I know this is a different time. I got that part. Okay. But 6 kids were shot. Thankfully, they didn't die. This is a mass shooting in Brooklyn. Okay. And so Tish, what's her face, the police commissioner, says, apparently it was a gun, a gang. I know I sound excited, but just give me a little bit of time to express myself, please. She says, it's a gang. Apparently it was a gang shooting. Okay. So does that make it less important when they throw that gang crap in there? Because they're good for saying that. When there's these shootings in Brooklyn and the Bronx, the first thing they say is, it must be gang related. Okay. Does that lessen it? Does it make it less when that kid in the Bronx was coming out of the PAL, Police Academy, Police Athletic League? They claimed he was a kid who used to get in trouble. He was in gangs and he was being reformed and those kind of things here. So if you know that this kid had an X on his back and you allowed him to leave that PAL and walk to the subway alone, only to get riddled with bullets. This was, I believe, last year. You allowed him to walk out of there? Knowing that this kid had an X on his back, you allowed him to walk out. So my thing is, it's just disgusting. But that's one incident. This other thing in Australia, they showed you, it was like a movie. They showed you the 2 white guys. Their heads wasn't covered. Their faces wasn't covered. And they showed you with these long-nosed shotguns shooting up these people on the beach. And it was like out of a movie. Where was the police? Since it was on the beach, why weren't there lifeguards anyplace? Never mind a cop, but lifeguards. It was just open season in Australia. It's just sickening what's going on with these guns and the way society just do like they're kicking the can down, like the tumbleweed blowing in the wind. We talk about these shootings And mind you, Sandy Hook, it was the anniversary of Sandy Hook yesterday, right? When all these was it Saturday when the shootings took place? It was the
it was the anniversary
of
Sandy Hook. That's correct.
Yes, sir. So my thing is, like in that movie, Baby Daddy, he had the two daughters and the mother was a drug dealer. Okay. And the boy said, load up, load up. We need, you hear what I'm saying? You got these gun buybacks in our churches and all kind of things. Ain't no white buybacks going on. It's just sickening what's going on. And listen, a lot of people say, oh, well, that's their problem, and it's the last day. They be in the last days, and Ryan's son shot him, and two other white people's son just shot them a couple of weeks ago. If you can recall, their son shot them, stabbed them up. And it's just, we living in the last days, and this is the prophecy and all this kind of thing here. But I believe, I was raised with a mother. This is all I'm going to say, and I'm going to shut up. I was raised in an era like you. Our parents, nobody sat you down and taught you how to behave one-on-one. This is how you speak to adults one-on-one. No, you just knew it by how you saw it. We learned from what we saw. We had grandparents over there. We had Miss So-and-so, the community, the neighborhood stores that you went to. Nobody taught you how to behave. You saw it by what you saw, in my opinion. So what we're seeing now, it's just sickening. All this shooting and stabbing, and I actually rescued someone yesterday going to a party last night. These fools getting ready to throw down on the bus. And I started singing one of them Christmas songs, Noel, Noel. And the people got engaged, and that's what caused the fight to break up, by me doing that. And then when I got home and actually was in bed thinking about it, I said, wait a minute, I could have got stabbed to death. Sharpton, don't hang up on me yet. I actually broke this BS up by singing this song, Noel, to divert. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I got you. I got to go to break. Thank you, Wale. Let's take a break and be right back. Keeping it real. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton. Hot Button Monday.
We have a young man in the studio who I think is an astounding young brother because of his youth. He's only 19 years old, and he's accomplished a lot, and he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. How about it for Al Sharpton? Al is the National Director of the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right, Al?
That's right.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition. We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller. But we view your million seller payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974. Yeah.
Now, before you go into the title tune of your latest album, you have a special guest.
Yeah, I do have a special guest, a young lady.
That's going to perform with you.
Yeah.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
It's about teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we mold them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be is a minister. and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed, just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, well, to them, to them 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Don't say hopeless. Then we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, try. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say it.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm going to tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we were riding an airplane and the two pilots died for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as a land, and make it, and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. Since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow His laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example, because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
At one man should have, the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
Except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in because they have a way sometimes.
We're not talking about control.
Yeah.
We're not talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund Chrysler and fund all these different other things, they can fund a small man to get started. Then the private sector will join in, but let them help too. It should be.
Last thing. Somewhere along the line here tonight, we used a graphic saying long, hot summer. Are you in any way, I'm certain you're not predicting a long, hot summer. You're not predicting urban strife. You're not predicting disorder, anything like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, at home you have an oven. There are flames on top of the oven, and then there's heat in the oven. We always discuss whether there'll be a flame on the top and don't discuss it. It's already 600 degrees inside. I'm not concerned as much about a long, hot summer because it's been a long, hot winter. Yeah. People are unemployed.
Okay.
People are unemployed. People are getting their homes ripped off. Parents' pocketbooks being snatched. As Ali said, crime is at a highest rate it's ever been. So rather than us running around the streets looking for a brick, we should be looking at the fact the brick is already in most people's houses. How do we get the brick out of the house? How do we cool the long oven out? Let's not wait for the explosion and then just cut the flames off upstairs. Let's put the flame out inside. And the only way to do that is everybody to get up and work by the sweat of their brow in America and try to produce, be productive like these two gentlemen have been in their life against all odds. They came up in a world that was alien to them, and they made it. And we can make it if we have the same initiative they did.
Mr. Sharpton, it's been a pleasure to have you here tonight, and I've enjoyed meeting you very much. Thank you for coming by, and thank you, James Brown, for being with us again. Thank you for being with us.
How are you? Highly favored. Highly favored.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Love you.
Over your house.
All right, family.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
You're live, sir. Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Let me say, aside from the obvious outrage that all of us have over the killings in Providence, Rhode Island at Brown University, the killings in Australia, and of course the death of Bob Rayner and his wife. I understand his son has been taken into custody, charged with murder, whereas Donald Trump's trying to act like it's something about, I don't even want to, I just can't get over how sick it is to do that. We understand now there's been an uncovered a plot targeting Los Angeles, a terror attack, and it's unfolding as I speak. But the FBI has said that there has been a planned New Year's Eve terror plot targeting Los Angeles. Violence everywhere. On top of all of this, let's not forget that we are days, not weeks, not months, days away from the Affordable Care Act just totally running out of time. If it is not extended, the Affordable Care Act will put us in a situation where we will see premiums double and in some cases triple, and make it unaffordable for millions of Americans. So aside from all the violence that certainly is clearly at the top of our minds, the institutional violence of having millions of people not having the ability to exercise health insurance, health care, is as tragic as you can get. The Republicans keep saying that they were going to come up with a plan. They have not come up with a plan. And you've got those on the left and some in the Black community, some of y'all listening, that said Obama didn't do nothing. Well, then what are they undoing? Evangelist Ramsey saying on our message page, good afternoon, greetings, Reverend Sharpton, greetings from the House of Justice, New York chapter. Sister was in New York 10 days, headed back to Georgia today. She is with the movement. She sends her love and keep fighting the good fight as the soldier, as you always have been. Thank you for that, and I appreciate that. A lot of people have been visiting House of Justice. Some came Saturday's rally, and I certainly appreciate that. All right. It is Monday, and it's Hot Button Monday, and we kicking off the week as we always do and should. And let me bring my co-host on. He is, of course, the Democratic strategist, founder and CEO of Blueprint Strategy, LLC, the one and only Antoine Seawright. How you doing, Antoine? I don't hear Antoine.
But it's certainly a cold day in America with the framework that you just laid out in the intro to this segment.
Yeah, it's very, very cold day in America. I can't get over the tweet by President Trump, saying that Reiner had anti-Trump syndrome, and that's what incited somebody to kill him. They've taken his kid into custody. I mean, to think that this man is in charge of this country and is that sick is scary to me, Antoine. But aside from that, let me go into things that I know that you can give our audience some insight. And I might add that Antoine is going to be part of the special we do every year called the Revies. It'll be the 15th Christmas season. I did the Revy Awards, the end of the year awards. So play on me being a reverend, the Revies, like they have the other awards, I guess you would say. And we have got Antoine as part of the panel this year, and we're glad to have him as part of the panel. I lent him my bright red velvet tuxedo jacket, but it fit. It fit. Give us the update of the last ditch and likely to fail House GOP is proposing on healthcare. Where are we at? Mike Johnson and them said they had a plan. When they came up with a plan that doesn't look like is something feasible. Explain what's going on the healthcare front.
Well, first of all, on the death that the president disgustingly commented on, keep in mind his son was dealing with addiction, and that is what he's been battling, and yet he tragically killed his mother and father. And every family knows what it is to have a family member dealing with addiction. So that's certainly nothing to use the disgusting, divisive language that this president used. But when people show you who they are, you have to believe them the first time. as it relates to the ACA subsidies, as you know, Reb, at December 31st, those subsidies will expire. Not only will we see insurance premiums, co-pays, and deductibles increase, you add on to that the $1 trillion cut to Medicaid, largest in American history, that they put in place in the big ugly bill earlier this year. They're going to degut healthcare from an accessibility and affordability standpoint as we know it. And so the proposal that House Republican leadership say they're going to vote on by Wednesday certainly does not do anything to deal with the healthcare crisis that they have created. It certainly does not extend those premiums. And quite frankly, it's a slap in the face to accessibility and affordability healthcare that Americans have enjoyed for the past 15 years. And Rev, may I add, 71 times over a 15-year period, they tried to repeal and displace millions of Americans who enjoyed the Affordable Care Act. That's 600,000 veterans who enjoyed the Affordable Care Act. And if those premiums are not, those subsidies are not extended, you're going to have 270,000 veterans likely to go without health care. And these are the people who love to say they're party over country. I'm sorry, country over party. And so it's going to impact every single person in America. A family paying $8,000 a year today are going to see their premiums increase to $24,000, $28,000, in some cases $32,000 a year for one person for healthcare coverage. And in so many places, you're starting to see healthcare centers close down all around the country. So not only do we have an affordability crisis, we have an accessibility crisis. And I unapologetically say people are going to die and get sicker because of this Republican majority and this president.
And they are going all the way to the wire. It is not that the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, was not working. Is that they are so partisan and bigoted, they would rather render people, including many in their own political base, to have no health coverage than to continue to extend something done by a Democratic president, less known a black president. I mean, I don't know how sick you can be.
Well, Reb, these are the people who claim to be pro-life, but what they really mean is they're pro-birth. Because if you don't care about the quality of health care a person receives after they're born into this world, then you can't claim to be pro-life. And you know it's a sad day in America when you got some of the extremists in the Republican Party, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Josh Hawley, and I think 19 other Republicans who are begging and pleading to extend those subsidies because they know it's going to have a devastating impact on white working class Americans, white rural America, and white urban America as well. And so these people understand this is not a partisan game. Healthcare is not a political football you throw down the field. It is a serious matter, and we're going to have to deal with it in a real way. And they have yet to come up with a plan because they know Americans enjoy that plan. And for the African Americans who say that Joe Biden did not do anything for you, the only reason we have these subsidies today is because in the first piece of legislation Joe Biden put in place, the American Rescue Plan, these subsidies were introduced, and then they were codified into law by way of the Inflation Reduction Act. So when people say Joe Biden didn't do anything for you, then why in the hell are these Republicans, including Donald Trump, trying to take away the subsidies that will keep you having health care coverage?
Daryl Prunty is saying on our message board, the Republican House and Senate is allowing Trump to stay in power, knowing how sick he is to stay in power themselves. That's why they're keeping him there, he's saying. They must be held accountable for this during an election time. No, there's no doubt. I mean, I don't even understand how you can not know that this man is not well. When you have a son that has a record of drug addictions, and again, I'm not convicting him before the case, but he has been arrested. His mother and father did. And you act like it's about you. I mean, that's not within the realm of even sanity. It's amazing. It is totally amazing. And SunCam 57 says today is the last day to sign up for January 1st coverage through ACA. Many of them are not doing what it is we need done. Let's go to Brian, Disco Brian in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. WURD.
Let's go to break first.
Let's take the break. We'll come right back to him. Yeah, Dallas.
Hello, New Orleans.
tell you straight, they did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, has said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are. Because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. In many cases have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
Rev, you know, you were right there
from the beginning
with the stuff that was going on in Brooklyn at that time, at Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, and I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. We've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene yourself, Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question. What was your weight on that scene?
I bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair back.
And you had the head on.
Yeah, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut, so we went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK. Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
We've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest? Who can run around the pulpit more? Or who got the dresses fancy and don't deal with the ministry. Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me.
1-877-532-5797. Antoine Seawright is our co-host. Let's go right back to the phone. Let's go to Rufus in Savannah, Georgia. Rufus, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton and Antoine Seawright.
Oh.
Is Rufus there?
No.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah. How you doing, baby?
Hello?
I'm just calling. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. You're on.
Okay. Yeah, I was just calling. Hadn't talked to you all in a while. I was just sitting back watching things unfold in America. Trying to prepare, make sure our people are preparing, for the foolishness.
Well, I hope they are preparing because there's a lot of foolishness. Thank you for your call. Thank you for checking in. Let's go to Lola in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Lola, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WURD.
Yes, Reverend Al.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yes. Hi. I wanted to say that it's good speaking to you and Reverend Seawright. I wanted to say that have you ever seen the movie The Omen?
Years ago, yes.
Yeah, years ago. Okay. The only reason I bring that up because I was gonna make a reference to it, so I wanted you to know what I was talking about. I feel like that is who's sitting in the White House, because this man, not all the stuff that he's doing by destroying this country, and Congress is letting this man do this. Congress and the Senate. One man is destroying this whole country. Then this the Rob Reiner dies. Unfortunately, he's killed by his drug-addicted, mentally ill son. He turns it into a political thing, saying it's because he was politically against him. Listen, where is humanity? If I can be politically against you, against anybody, but if something happens to you or anybody, I do have empathy for them. I didn't feel that anybody should be murdered because of their political beliefs. Now, if they have racism and all that stuff, I'm still not saying they should be murdered, but I disagree with their ideologies and what they believe in. And so we have this man sitting in here talking about that this person was killed because he was against him. Then we have him taking the tanker from Venezuela and now going over there. Right. We have him putting tariffs on. I've seen the prices rise. He's talking about the tariffs is making it better. No, it's not. The tariffs are being passed on to the American people. The only thing that I've seen that people keep talking about is that the gas went down. Okay, if the gas went down, but I can't eat gas. And a lot of people don't have cars. So what does the gas prices have to do with food, utilities, rent, housing, the mortgage prices, all of that stuff? Even with the Fed chairman dropping the rate half a point again, that's not going to really affect the people that are out here. That's helping the 1% with their stocks and people that are living that way off the billionaires are living off the interest of their money. They're not living paycheck to paycheck like other people are out here in this country. So they're not seeing the effects of what's going on. And it really makes me sick to my stomach, and it hurts me in my heart that we are living in a country that one white man can destroy and take over the country with no guardrails. Even though the forefathers were not perfect, they were also white. the forefathers who did the Constitution and also were slave owners, they did put in some guardrails supposedly to stop this kind of behavior. And so there were supposed to be other people like the Congress and the people in the Senate and other people to stop this. But we have no one stopping this man. He's just running like it's like a train on a train track, and it's just keep going and going and going. And it's just like it's never going to stop. It's just going and going and going until someone stops him and stops this train from going off the tracks, because he's running this country off the tracks into some type of the waters, into an ocean somewhere, while the billionaires are able to get off the train, and us working people and other people, poor working class people, are able to stay on the train. And then Rand Paul, Reverend Al, he was on Meet the Press, and he said that American people should get their insurance from the Sam's Club, Amazon, and Walmart, that they should be able to buy their insurance from those different type of corporations. What is wrong with these people? These people get all of their medical insurance, everything paid for by us. Our taxpayer money is funding their lifetime pensions, their lifetime medical care for them and their family members. But working people should get their medical care from Walmart, Amazon, and Sam's Club. I mean, this is absolutely insane. It's lunacy. Where are we going to be pulled back? And that's what people like myself and other people are sitting back saying. There is no one, Reverend Al, and I hope you hear the angst and the desperation in my voice. It's not just for me, it's for other people who I see are homeless, who I see have never been in food lines, crying in these food lines because they're still working 2 jobs and can't afford their rent, they can't afford food. And no one is pulling him back, Reverend Al. He's on this tyrant, he's a tyrant. He's like, he just reminds me of the Omen. It's just like, just keep going and pushing. And people are being pushed to the absolute limit. Like, it's so disgusting and disturbing to sit back in this country and this one white man is allowed to take all of us down on this train with him, and we have not asked to be on this train, while the billionaires are able to get off and jump off the train at the next stop while we're still on this train, and it's not being run by anybody.
Thank you for your call, Lola. I think that there's nobody stopping him because we're looking for others to stop him. The only ones that can stop him is us. And that is by organizing enough voters to go out there and put people in the Senate and the Congress that will stop this. It does not take rocket science. The way this system is set up and has always operated since we were included in it, and we had to fight to get included in it, and then that to fully be done with protection didn't happen until 65, is we voted people out. And I think that all of the people that did not vote or that said it didn't matter to vote are the ones that put us here. And those people and us are going to have to come out and vote next year with the midterm elections and put in a Congress that can slow him down. But don't for 1 minute forget that many of us told you this man was this sick, and they told us what they were going to do. They came out and published Project 2025. So I don't understand why people are alarmed. If somebody says red light, don't go through the red light, and you go through the red light and have an accident, you know that you went through the red light. We had lights flashing of what this man was going to do, and it's less than a year. He was inaugurated in January of 24. We are about 11 months in, and look at what he's done. And Bruce Turner's on the social, our message page saying, the GOP is the reason this is happening. If I were anybody listening to me and knew anybody that voted for Trump, I would be hitting them on the text messages, on the phone, whatever it is, saying, look at what you got us in. And anybody that did not vote, you vote. Antoine, a non-vote is a vote, because you allowed the other side to bring out their voters, and we couldn't bring you out.
Those point in times where I'm frustrated and bothered by the social media activists. They have no problem posting online and trying to create drama and attention when something happens. But yet, when they have the opportunity to truly express themselves and make a long-term difference, not a short-term like or reshare, they don't do it. We have so many people saying, well, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did not do this. The Democratic Party did not do this. My vote doesn't matter. I don't care, and so forth. Now you have 25 million Americans who are going to see their copays, deductibles, and premiums increase. You got a president who literally posted a disgusting, vile tweet because a son who's dealing with addiction and a mental health crisis killed his mother and father last night. Not to mention the unseriousness that has come from this administration, from the Department of Defense, to the HHS secretary. In my home state of South Carolina, 111 people, measles outbreak, 105 of them were not even vaccinated. And this is just scratching the surface, not to mention $186 billion cut to SNAP benefits that's going to impact 42 million people. You have the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, and all the other things we've seen from this right-wing activist court. And if you're a Black American that look like Al and Antoine, when they take up Section 2 next year and they possibly eliminate 19 African Americans in the United States Congress, then you have to say to yourself, then why the hell does my vote matter? Why are they screaming and yelling about the power of my vote? I don't care if you're black, white, brown, young, poor, rich, or whatever. Your vote has the ultimate say-so in this country. So shame on anybody who will feel the impact of this administration and this Congress, or even these down ballot races at state level and so forth, and say, well, I don't vote because it doesn't matter.
All right, let's go to a break. We will take a break. Let's come right back after this break. Keeping it real. Sharpton. See right. Be right back.
But the fact of the matter is, Rosa Parks was not only the mother of the modern civil rights movement, she was the mother of this nation. Why would you say that, Sharpton? Because you called George Washington the father of the nation, but when he became father, we wasn't included in the nation. Women were not included in the nation. The first time we had a parent in this nation is when all of us was included, and Rosa Parks did that on December 1st, 1955. I heard somebody say Jim Crow is who she fought, and Jim Crow is still around. But Jim Crow is old. That's not who I'm mindful of today. The problem is Jim Crow has sons. The one we got to battle is James Crow Jr. Esquire. He's a little more educated. He's a little slicker. He's a little more polished. But the results are the same. He doesn't put you in the back of the bus. He just puts referendums on the ballot to end affirmative action when you can't go to school. He doesn't call you a racial name. He just marginalizes your existence. He doesn't tell you that he's set against you. He sets up institutional racism, where you have a nation respond looking for weapons in Iraq that are not there, but can't see a hurricane in Louisiana that is there. James Crow Jr. Esquire. That's who we got to fight. And if we are to win, if we are to really memorialize Rosa Parks, she would tell us to do in the generation of his son what she and Dr. King did to his daddy. They didn't talk a fight, they fought the fight. They didn't show up at funerals, they showed up on the picket line and the march line and the jailhouse.
It amazes me that we sit there acting like we don't have work to do. And that many of us in our own community are mocking her memory. They formed a movement when they had none of what we got. You realize that Dr. King and Dr. Abernathy and them formed a boycott after Rosa Parks, where people stayed off the bus for a year, went to rallies every night, and they never had email, never had a cell phone, never could go online. Here you got 2 cell phones in your pocket, emails, computers at the house, and can't even get a block association meeting together. We got so much more that they gave us, and we're doing so much less with it. They went to vote when people were threatening their lives. Medgar Evers was shot dead in his driveway, left 3 children inside that never knew how it was to have a father in their adult years, died to give us the right to vote. Pregnant women marched through the streets of Birmingham. They sick police dogs on them to give us the right to vote. 4 little girls bombed in a church in Birmingham, Alabama to give us the right to vote. And here you are 40 years later in Detroit, Michigan. No dogs biting you, no bombs going off, no bullets, too lazy and ungrateful. Making mockery of her memory. Making mockery of her memory. Nobody should have to beg you to vote. Nobody should have to beg you to stand up and protect the rights that they died and suffered to give us. You can't take care of one thing on the ballot in Michigan when they had to change the laws of all 50 states. You complaining about one referendum when they did a whole revolution and never fired one shot. And then you turn it around on each other. Why do I want my daughters to visit that stone? Because I want them to know black women are not hoes. You have music companies selling misogynist records to our children. Black womanhood was Rosa Parks sitting in dignity. She wasn't break dancing. She wasn't talking about pimp me out. She made the world respect her people. So I want to thank Reverend Jackson and Mrs. Jackson and others that taught us a little younger who Rosa was, and we got to pass that on. Now, I want to challenge everybody here today that when we leave here, you ought to make a Rosa resolution. You ought to make one commitment in her name to yourself. That you're going to either join some organization or you're going to stand for some policy. You ought to make a Rosa resolution. You ought to resolve that you're going to do something that'll make a difference because we're here because she made a difference. Most people come and go and we never come to say goodbye because their hellos didn't mean anything to us. But we're here because she touched every one of us. And we need to make a Rosa resolution. I said to some of the young rappers the other day, talking to me about, well, you get on us about calling women out their names. I said you need to come and know the story of a dignified woman. They make
Keeping it real.
Patrick
Keeping
said,
it
well,
real.
you know,
I'm your host.
we
Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797. Antoine Seawright is also with us as our co-host, kicking off every Monday with our Hot Button Monday. Antoine, over the weekend, I also had on Politics Nation Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who was announced. She's running for the U.S. Senate in Texas. Out of equal time, I gave her opponent on yesterday. And we're looking at, there are several critical Senate races next year. Texas is one of them. But there is several Senate races, and there are all of the House races up. Give us a sense of what the numbers are that is needed for the Democrats to become the majority again, and where you see possibilities of states, and if you want specific districts being critical in this showdown, because everybody's saying, with the polls saying that Trump is so far down, but we're 11 months away from Election Day. And I'm not going by what the polls say. Anything could happen in 11 months. So what are the races we ought to be watching, and where are we at now, and where do we need to build?
Well, Reb, the 2025 elections were simply a down payment on the progress we're going to need in order to take this country back next year. You mentioned Senate races. I'll start there. First and foremost, we must protect John Ossoff in Georgia, probably the most vulnerable and critical Senate race on the map from a protection standpoint. And then we have some battleground places where we have to make some gains. North Carolina is one of them with Roy Cooper in that race, a very consequential leader. We have to ensure that we return the Senate seat in Michigan and Minnesota to the Democratic column. I know we talked about Texas being competitive. That's certainly on the radar. And then we talked about all the gubernatorial races and statewide races that will be on the ballot. When it comes to the U.S. House of Representatives, I think we have, 214 in the House right now. We need 218 is the magic number. But unlike before, I am going to take a different approach. I'm not necessarily so focused on what we pick up, because we can pick up and not keep what we have, and we'll still find ourselves in the minority. We have to protect what we have in the 214. That includes Amelia Sykes, African-American, Johanna Hayes, frontline African-American, Janelle Bynum in Oregon, frontline African-American, Johanna Hayes in Connecticut, frontline African-American. We have to protect those investments and then make certain that we reach out and win some seats that are competitive on the map. And so when people say, what are the priorities for me are protecting what we have all across the board and then expanding the map. The expansion of the map is going to look different today than it will August of next year. So I'm telling everybody, every race is important, up and down the ballot. And Rev, here's the kicker that you won't find many people who consider themselves operative saying, because everybody's focused on the House and the Senate, rightly so. But these gubernatorial races, these attorney general races, these mayoral races, and these state legislative races and local races are just as consequential next year as some of the federal races that we often talk about. Because when you build a house, when you build a movement, you build it from the bottom up. Shame on us for thinking that we've got to focus on Washington and K Street and not focus on Main Street and my street.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Disco Brian in Philadelphia. WURD, Disco Brian.
Yes, thank you, Rev. First off, Antoine, may I email you if I promise not to spam you? Do you have an email?
Well, y'all talk about that off there. Let me go.
Yeah,
we can't do that. I've got.
Okay, thank you, Rev. Thank you, Rev. Rev, best show on MS Now is Politics Nation. I want to thank you for featuring both Texas Dems running for Senate. And I want to make a respectful public ask, if I can, to my fellow melanin-deficient brother, James Tallarico. James, please bow out now and endorse Crockett. And then get Joe Rogan to join you in supporting Crockett for Senate. You see, Rev and Antoine, Tallarico went on Joe Rogan a few months ago. And when he had the chance, he refused to confront Rogan's record. Years of using the N-word, COVID misinformation, platforming Hitler apologists, and endorsing Trump last year. We are in an information war. You don't get to borrow a manosphere microphone and pretend the host's propaganda footprint doesn't matter. You either challenge it in real time or you normalize it. Meanwhile, Jasmine Crockett's got all that federal experience and oversight and moral clarity and refused to kiss the ring of any white populist. You won't find Representative Crockett interviewing with Joe Rogan. Neither will you find any footage of Crockett locking arms with Bernie on a stage in a majority white audience. And gentlemen, maybe the most important American film this year was Sinners, which invoked not hate, but haint, that Southern spiritual language for a malevolent practice. And it hit me, Rev, Antoine. Our public life right now feels haunted because this weekend we watched that haint energy manifest as real-world violence against Jewish life in Australia, the attack targeting a Hanukkah event, and then at Brown University, the shooting happened during final exam review session for an introductory economics class taught by Professor Rachel Friedberg, who is also affiliated with Judaic studies. And I can't even get into the madness of Reiner's murder, Rev. We cannot ignore the fact that some of these left-wing DSA protests have slid from ceasefire and justice into demonizing Israel as pure evil and rationalizing Hamas, because that rhetoric does not just stay theoretical. It can help create permission structures for targeting Jews across the diaspora. And on the other side, Christian nationalists and extremist ethno-nationalist forces demonize Islam as inherently violent, which ignores the millions of Muslims of conscience who are fighting political Islamist extremism, as Ahmed al-Ahmed, the Muslim hero in Sydney, exemplifies. So my question, Rev, is this. As someone steeped in Hebrew scripture and the New Testament, how do you preach a pro-dignity, pro-truth standard that rejects anti-Semitism and rejects anti-Muslim hatred at the same time without letting righteous anger hurtle into hate?
Well, I think it's simple. Thank you for your call. The way you deal with it from a Judeo-Christian standpoint is Jesus told the story of the Good Samaritan, where when people of a man robbed and beaten walked past him and wouldn't aid him, it was a Samaritan of a different race that did what was right for him. And it's not complicated. Your righteousness is not built on you dealing with other righteous. Your righteousness is standing up for people that you may not feel are righteous, but they need to be treated in a righteous way. And I think that is the problem. We get into segregating justice, segregating fairness. It's only for those like me. No, you've either got to be for right for everybody, or you can't be for right for anybody. And I think that's where you get the answer to that question. Let me go to Miss Richardson in Chevy Chase, Maryland, my friend Miss Richardson. Wait a minute, Miss Richardson, let me take the break, because I see we right on the break. I'll come right back to you. Keeping it real. Sharpton, see right. Be right back. people report the news, others interpret it, but there are those who transform it into truth. Ari Melba has redefined journalism with intellect, creativity, and courage. He blends culture and current events, politics and poetry, truth and transparency. And in doing so, he reminds us that storytelling is a sacred work. Ari understands that our narratives shape our nation, and he has used his platform to highlight issues that matter to the people, not just to the powerful. Tonight, we honor him for bridging art and activism, for using his voice to educate, inspire, and empower. Join me, please, in celebrating Ari Melba, recipient of the President's Award of Historic Transformative Leadership.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing? First of all, Babyface is 67 years old. We might need a fact check on that. What an honor to be up here with Rev and everyone else. When Rev started out, they said, he's just doing this to get on TV. Now he has a TV show. He kept along and they said, well, he's just setting himself up to run for office, be a politician. Now he has the politicians coming here to be accountable to you. We're celebrating his 71st birthday, God bless. I don't think he's planning to run for office in his late 70s or 80s, although people do that nowadays. I don't know if you've heard. So as far as I can tell, maybe he was doing it for the people. Maybe he was doing it for voting rights and human rights and being an advocate for people in communities where when bad things do happen, they don't have a local advocate or a federal advocate, or suddenly it doesn't feel like they have anyone who cares about what's happening to them. So it's funny, in the middle you can't always prove the case, but by this stage in his illustrious contributions to the United States, he's doing it for everyone. So shout out to Rev. I'm really honored to get this award. My grandmother was a refugee. My father's an immigrant. Like a lot of other people that I get to interact with, I'm very aware that my worst days are better than some of their best days. And so I keep that in mind, and I know Rev does and a lot of other people do. This award was called Leadership in the Arts. I'm honored by it. I love the arts. I won't say whether I've ascended to being a leader in the arts, but I will share with you the leaders I learned from. I learned civil rights from Sam Cooke. I learned about colonialism from Bob Marley. I learned about activism from Gil Scott-Heron. He said the revolution will not be televised. We're working on that. Reb and I are working on that. I learned about the media from KRS-One. I learned about politics from Public Enemy. I learned about police brutality from Tupac and about feminism from Lauryn Hill. So when I was growing up, I did okay in school, but I was quickly learning as a teenager there was all of these parts that weren't in the official story, but they were true. So yes, we try to reflect some of that in our reporting. In times like this right now in America, art and free speech are under attack. It's not just the historians, bless them. It's not just the normal newspaper reporters, bless them. It's also the comedians, from Kimmel to D.L. Hughley. It's also the artists. We've seen the crackdowns on people who sing or share their thoughts through other forms of expression. And so, in a moment like this, as we've seen in, unfortunately, other countries around the world, it feels like just telling the truth becomes a radical act. That's a bad sign for the health of your democracy. But the truth can help redeem our democracy. So I'll end with a bar. Is that all right? Should we do one bar? from New York's own Jay-Z, Sean Carter, Hove. He's talking about people that might not be truthful with you, that might not keep it a buck. And he said they're all actors, looking at themselves in the mirror backwards. Can't even face themselves, don't fear no rappers. They're all weirdos, De Niro's in practice. So don't believe everything your earlobe captures. It's mostly backwards. Unless it happens to be as accurate as me. And everything said in song you happen to see. Then actually believe half of what you see. None of what you hear, even if it's spat by me. So we will keep spitting facts with the humble confidence of Sean Carter on our best day. And you can keep making up your own mind, because we gonna be all right. Thank you. Thank you.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
So we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We were with Gold. Yeah. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses. Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
So that's and we
Alexander Sharpton.
America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Antoine Seawright is our co-host. Let's go to Mrs. Richardson in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Miss Richardson.
Yes, Rev.
Yes.
Yes, dear. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Fine, my darling. We love you dearly, and we're here in the kitchen here. We're having our little Maypo. You know, that's an old product that you don't hear it anymore, do you, Rev?
Yeah, I remember Maypo. I remember Maypo growing up. We used to eat Maypo all the time. I don't hear about that much anymore.
Yeah, but it's good fiber. You know, it's good.
Yes, it is.
And so it's, you know, Quaker oatmeal. But see, our people don't want to stay healthy. They want to be into the filth. denigrating. They're making a lot of millions of dollars denigrating their own folks. See, we need to clean up our house too. We keep talking about this man Trump. He is an evil person, but I mean, we've got to focus. We can't get distracted, even though these people that was, killed, they're from I think Reiner was Jewish. Wasn't he part of Jewish?
I'm not sure. I think he was. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of Jewish hate, Reb, even with our people, because I hear these black men daily on morning shows really condemning the white Jews, like they're not supposed to be a Jew. They're feeling that the Jewish faith was stolen from the black people, from Ethiopian Jews and things like that. See, that's why black people in a way are dying quicker than anybody else, because see, they worry their hearts out and they worry their minds. A lot of them go crazy because a lot of them is doing what white folks do, Reb. They're doing the same repeated.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head, because I think, first of all, from the preliminary accounts, Bob Reiner was killed by his son, and his wife was killed by his son. Somebody killed their mother and daddy, and it ain't got nothing to do with whether they was Jewish or not. And it's got nothing to do with his politics about Trump. This is madness. And I believe, Mrs. Richardson, that we should let anybody state what they got to state. But when they going off the deep end, like Trump has, or like these people you're talking about, then I tell them you're off the deep end. Reiner's killing, according to police, was by his son, who had a drug addiction and an illness. The killing in Australia was based on it being Hanukkah, was anti-Semitic. That has nothing to do with whether somebody stole religion or not years ago. People do not have the right to go into somebody's celebration and just kill them. Same thing with Brown University. Because if we start doing that, if we start determining whether people's life is of value based on our opinion of where their tribe or race comes in history, then it justifies what they did to Trayvon Martin, George Floyd. You can't have it both ways. You cannot have sacred life in our community, but you can disparage anybody else's life. And I get these people, you're right, Ms. Richardson, that say to me, well, I appreciate you standing up for us, but I don't care about the other people. Then you're not standing up for us, because there's no way we can win the fight to preserve life if we're going to decide whose life we're going to preserve.
What life we're going to preserve? That, Rev, you said that. So, I mean, I wish you were president. We need Reverend Al as our president. When you ran for president years ago, I said it would be gallant that he would win, but you had the weight problem at that time. But I mean, you have lost so much weight and you look so handsome now to me.
Oh,
and that's why I don't get enough of you, because that's why
you hear that, Antoine? You hear that, Antoine? All right.
But I mean, and David sitting here, he's smiling because he know we always joke at each other, But in closing, I'll just say that we have a lot of homework to do. We got to stop being distracted by a lot of this stuff. Even though that man was Jewish, I know there's more important things we need to do. We need to look at Netanyahu, maniac, Putin, that man in Russia, a maniac. We need to get them off of being the leaders of those countries, because as long as Putin is the leadership and Netanyahu, you used to have a caller that called it and said it looked like a third world war. And I think you taped it, because I hear him all the time. And he's right. We're going to go into a third world war. And, because this man years ago, this man Muslim, the Iranian Khomeini, Ayatollah Khomeini, he said once someone interpreted it, and I wound up agreeing with him in a way, because he said the people of America doesn't know the evil victim, something that the translator was saying from Ayatollah, that we don't know what we're in for. And I never thought he was a good man, but when that man said that Muslim years ago, it had been back in the 70s, somewhere when Carter was in there, and Ayatollah Khomeini was saying, you people don't know what you're in. He was telling them, the interpreter is talking for him. You don't know what you're going to be up against. And he was right. But look at the evil that Trump has put. He really, you know, he has put so much disparity and unhope, like there's not going to be any hope, because he's made the word hope look like it doesn't even mean anything. So that's what his mission is, to just wipe us out and have us be peasants. See, we're living in a world of two cities. The tale of two cities. One's rich, one's poor, and that's the way they want to set it. The Project 2025. That's what they was meaning. And Rev, you're right. Why did people see it? I saw it when the Tea Party with that stuff.
That's right.
And our people just, yeah. But anyway, I'll be calling you later during the week, because I know you got a lot of calls.
All right. Thank you for your call. I'll be looking forward to it. You know, thank you for your call. You know, Antoine, part of what the paradoxical rhetoric that some use, you know, we can all talk about how crazed some of the stuff is that President Trump says, and it is crazy. But it's just as crazy to say they will not vote for us, and then turn around and talk about, I don't care if they get killed because they're Jewish, or I don't care if they get killed because they're Irish, or I don't care about LGBTQ. So let me get this right. You don't care about people's life, but you also want to know why they didn't vote the way we wanted them to vote. You can't build a coalition of voters, even though we may have differences on some things. You could not build a coalition of voters that support Obama or Kamala Harris if you're going to be bigoted yourself.
Well, Rev, I would just say to you, as they say in the construction world, every builder ain't trying to build, and every construction world ain't a builder. So I think we have to lock in with that premises from the very start. Because a lot of these people who had all these issues and things to say in the last election or elections to come about the Democratic Party and what we do and message and some of the things you just mentioned, you don't hear a peep and a tom from them right now when we actually have a message on affordability. We have a president who's failed, whether it's grocery, energy, gas, you name it. He's failed on. But then they say, well, Democrats don't have a message. We won the 2025 election cycle on that message. And some of the same very people who are so critical of the Democratic Party this and the candidates this, and they don't care nothing about me and this, that, and the third, these quote unquote messengers and influencers and builders, you don't hear a peep and a tom from them. And that's why I don't take them serious during the course of any election cycle, including some of the prominent radio hosts on the radio every morning, like Charlemagne and others, who are looking for attention and looking for ratings. They're not trying to save our country. And that's the difference between me and them. I don't go on television. I don't go on radio for the purpose of building Antoine Seawright. I'm trying to build community. I'm trying to help save this country. And more importantly, I'm trying to make sure that this country is better when I leave here than I found it. That's my goal. I'm not interested in anything else. So if you're serious about building and being a builder, then you have to combine those things and be serious about it all the time. Not just serious when it's convenient or because you're looking for ratings or you're looking for people to repost your post and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. And I think that you've got to have that kind of attitude, and you got to know that people are what they are. And they going to be there and be like that. You need to be defined by who you are and what you do. And you always going to have people that are opposing us. The question is, what are we going to do to organize on our side, and whether we are serious enough to get that done. I mean, people come with, I'm in public life, so you're going to have people criticize all the time. I got guys that think they know more about my business than I do. About my own business. I don't even debate them. I don't even answer them. My thing is, let's keep focused on what we're trying to do. I remember when we were fighting several cases. I can go back 40 years. Always been a group that was anti-us. Why they out front? Sharpton getting all the publicity. Well, you can get all the publicity you want if you stand out there and say something publicly that needs to be said at a risky time, And like you say now, just now, Antoine, where are all of those that criticize the Democratic Party and that criticize Kamala Harris? Where are you now? We are 10 days away from ACA being canceled. Where are you? Where's your tweet? Where is your podcast? So I mean, it is crazy to me for us not to be able to see these people are frauds. A guy gets on our message board every week or so. Reverend Al should pay his taxes. If I did not pay my taxes, how could I be sitting up on television and radio? But rather than argue with somebody who's obviously an idiot, I'm trying to deal with those of us that are doing nothing. You always be an idiot. Like he's my accountant or he's whatever. You don't need to be idiotic yourself and sit around doing nothing. Let's go take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
All over the world today, people are gathered in love vigils to celebrate the life of a man that taught the world how to love. People may be wondering why there's such an emotional outburst, but you would have to understand the journey of Michael to understand what he meant to all of us. For these that sit here as the Jackson family, a mother and father with 9 children that rose from a working class family in Gary, Indiana. They had nothing but a dream. No one believed in those days that these kind of dreams could come true. But they kept on believing, and Michael never let the world turn him around from his dreams. I first met Michael around 1970, Black Expo, Chicago, Illinois, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who stood by this family till now. And from that day as a cute kid to this moment, he never gave up dreaming. It was that dream that changed culture all over the world. When Michael started, it was a different world. But because Michael kept going, because he didn't accept limitations, because he refused to let people decide his boundaries, he opened up the whole world. In the music world, he put on one glove, pulled his pants up, and broke down the color curtain, where now our videos are shown and magazines put us on the cover. It was Michael Jackson that brought blacks and whites and Asians and Latinos together. It was Michael Jackson that made us sing "We Are the World" and feed the hungry long before Live Aid. Because Michael Jackson kept going, he created a comfort level where people that felt they were separate became interconnected with his music. And it was that comfort level that kids from Japan and Ghana and France and Iowa and Pennsylvania got comfortable enough with each other to later it wasn't strange to us to watch Oprah on television. It wasn't strange to watch Tiger Woods golf. Those young kids grew up from being teenage, comfortable fans of Michael to being 40 years old and being comfortable to vote for a person of color to be the president of the United States of America. Michael did that. Michael made us love each other. Michael taught us to stand with each other. There are those that like to dig around mess, but millions around the world, we're going to uphold his message.
is not about mess, it's about his love message. As you climb up steep mountains, sometimes you scar your knee, sometimes you break your skin, but don't focus on the scars, focus on the journey. Michael rose to the top. He outsang his cynics, he outdanced his doubters, he outperformed the pessimists. Every time he got knocked down, he got back up. Every time you counted him out, he came back in. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. I want to say to Mrs. Jackson and Joe Jackson, his sisters and brothers, we thank you for giving us someone that taught us love, someone that taught us hope. We want to thank you because we know it was your dream too. And we know that your heart is broken. I know you have some comfort from the letter from the President of the United States and Nelson Mandela, but this was your child. This was your brother. This was your cousin. Nothing will fill your heart's loss. But I hope the love that people are showing will make you know he didn't live in vain. And I want his 3 children to know, wasn't nothing strange about your daddy. It was strange what your daddy had to deal with, but he dealt with it. He dealt with it anyway. He dealt with it for us. So some came today, Mrs. Jackson, to say goodbye to Michael. I came to say thank you. Thank you because you never stopped. Thank you because you never gave up. Thank you because you never gave out. Thank you because you tore down our divisions. Thank you because you eradicated barriers. Thank you because you gave us hope. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI, diversify, is not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely accomplished conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender? Until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white, males. That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete.
You're live. Keeping it real.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host. Keeping it real. Reverend Al Sharpton. Antoine Seawright is our co-host. Antoine, we saw that the Supreme Court upheld the redistricting plan in Texas, which is back and forward. The opens the possibilities for if there's a huge turnout, we could take the Senate. But in those redrawn district lines, they're trying to set up an advantage for the Republicans. Doesn't mean that we couldn't outvote them in one or two of them anyway, but that's what they're trying to set up. Tell us what other states. I know there was some movement in Indiana that even the Republicans voted down redistricting and turned on President Trump's try. Are there other states, I think North Carolina, that are that we ought to be aware of redistricting and how we need to deal with it? I don't hear Antoine.
Rev, I'm here.
Okay.
Rev, I would tell you that there's a mantra in the Republican Party that I like to describe, that I heard described in Ohio, where it says, if you can't beat them, cheat them. What Donald Trump did was called up the governor of Texas and said, give me 4 seats to help protect my interests in the United States Congress. He did that. We responded in California properly, thanks to Gavin Newsom and thanks to the people of California. But they did not stop there. They tried to do Indiana. They have done North Carolina successfully, and the courts have ruled in their favor. They're trying to do South Carolina and eliminate Jim Clyburn's district. Governor Santos has signaled that he's going to do Florida. And so all across the country, they're going to redraw the lines. Missouri is another example. They're going to try to redraw the lines to not only give them a political victory, but also to exterminate what I describe as black political influence and black political power. And so if you look at the case that came out of Louisiana, that case has made its way to the Supreme Court. That's the challenge to Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. Right. It's been in place since 1965. That is going to determine whether or not 19 districts. Yeah, that's right. That is going to determine whether or not black districts all across the South in particular will remain, because if they unravel Section 2, as they've done with Section 4, as they've done with Section 5, then, you know, Rev, it's going to be a very hard road to toe for us as black Americans in this country to sustain the political influence and power that we've had.
No, if they take out Section 2, and you're right, it went in 1965. I was thinking of the Emancipation Proclamation, but you're right. 1965, they have already neutralized Section 7 and 8. I remember during the oral arguments on that, I sat in the Supreme Court with John Lewis and others. And if they take out 2 where race cannot be a factor at all, there is no Voting Rights Act. And what I think the challenge is, that's why I get so annoyed, and you just said it very well before the break, with these clowns that get on media trying to get likes and all kind of just traffic on social media, clowning, when we are looking at the fact that everything that was given by bloodshed, sacrifice, nights in jail to open up doors for us. I mean, wasn't like people woke up one morning and said, let's be nice to Negroes now. We fought. People got lynched, white and black. Italian woman, Viola Luisa, came out of Michigan, drove down to Selma to help with the Selma movement to get the Voting Rights Act, was killed. 2 Jews and a black, Goodman, Cheney, and Schwerner, killed. I mean, people lost their lives. And you're the beneficiary of that. And you get on there clowning and carrying on. It is sick. Now, you got the right to do it, and we got the right and the obligation to expose it. And I think that it's our obligation to do that. And being that I've been on the front line 40 years, I really don't care if it hurts your feelings or not. I done took a knife in my chest and had to go through too many nights in jail to have somebody think I did that for you to be sitting around trying to just get some people to hit a like button on your social media page.
Rev, I could give 2 flying kites what they say about me on K Street, because my grass is watered on Main Street and my street when people's lives are transformed, and we inform people about how this stuff impact their lives. And the same people looking for likes and viewerships and social media posts and all, athletes included. You know what? In 2016, when we had the most qualified person to ever run for that office, run in 2016 when you had 3 Supreme Court seats on the line, those were the same ones criticizing as they did in 2024. Now what we have is a right-wing activist court who has gutted every bit of progress that we know and who is not done yet. It hadn't even been a year into the Trump presidency, and look at what the Supreme Court has done, from women's rights to voting rights to every other basic human form of decency we've been able to acquire in this country. So when progressives and others, influencers and others, radio hosts, TV hosts, political commentators and others, when they get on TV talking to yin yang, I just have to point back to the reality of we are here because of the posture you took in 2016. We will not be able to undo this right-wing activist court in my lifetime. These court seats are therefore a lifetime appointment. So if you care about the progress we've made as Black Americans, as women, and so forth, then you only have to look yourselves in the mirror if you do not participate properly at the ballot box.
And we need to be dealing with those issues, not this foolishness. A guy said to me on the plane, I went down to a wedding last Thursday, said to me on the plane, what do you think about I guess they call it the episode series on Diddy? I said, what do I think about it? Nothing. What do you think about redistricting? I mean, don't talk to me about some foolishness, gossip. I mean, but that's what they're playing to. We spend our airtime on gossip while they're dismantling the entire system that we fought to try and get some level of what was due our community. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there, and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf, because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good, because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time, Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
It's been a long time coming, but I know. 1968, Dr. Martin King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dreamer.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich New Dennis, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are, because we can smile through our pain. celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, and certainly we're happy. Brother Antoine Seawright starts off the week, kicks it off with us every week, and gives valuable information. Don't forget, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time every Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, formerly MSNBC. You don't want to miss it. I have the best and the brightest and hit the information that you need to hear with no chaser. I give it straight up. I want to know what the deal is. I do not want to deal with a lot of fanfare and foolishness and rhetoric. Watch it Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now, formerly MSNBC. You that are in the New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, tri-state area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally every Saturday morning. I'll be there this Saturday with my Christmas Kwanzaa message, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. You that are not in this area, you can watch it live on Impact Television, or you can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and go to live stream and watch it live on live stream. Let's go back to the phones, Antoine. Let's go to Ray in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ray.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my call, Ray. We have a couple things I want to say about Trump. Then I want to ask your guest a question. When it comes to Donald Trump, his comments on Rob Reiner, I think it's just a smokescreen to get the conversation off, one, Epstein, two, the economy, and his sorry pose that's coming out on him. When Trump got shot, everybody on MS Now, analysts and guests and hosts, they were sympathetic about Trump getting shot. You didn't hear one negative word about Trump, and you've known him for decades. I don't even think he has a decent bone in his body to be sympathetic towards anything. I think that's just how he was raised. It's just my opinion. He probably was raised that way. Not to have sympathy for one, the less fortunate, or he even called military people who got captured and killed suckers and losers. And they had the nerve to show up at the Army-Navy games Saturday. So that's my comment on Trump. But when it comes to, this is to your guest, during the general last year, young folks were coming out. And when I call young folks, I would say between the ages of 18 to 30, maybe 35. And there were polls, and there were they were coming out kind of like not supporting Joe Biden or Kamala Harris about the price of eggs and stuff like that. Now they're silent. To me, they're silent. Trump got rid of the the student loan forgiveness. Trump got rid of that. College kids, that would have helped. College kids and getting rid of student loans. But my point is, I don't hear anything from the young crowd, the 18 through the 30 or 35. I don't know if Trump carried the young folks pushback in a general. Maybe your guest can answer that, but they're just silent to me. You know,
Antoine,
that's just my opinion.
Antoine.
Well, he certainly did carry the quote unquote youth vote, or the young vote. I won't say youth because youth is a T-shirt size, not a constituency. He carried the young vote. He also carried white working class voters and Latino voters, and you don't hear much from them right now either. He carried farmers. You hear from them because they want this $12 billion bailout, and so I don't want to put the fall of the last election on one single constituency because I think there's several that we don't talk about. But I echo your point about not hearing from young voters because they're not paying attention until there's an election. And I think that's where we, myself included, have to learn how to meet people where they are and help people understand that politics and elections are a 24-hour a day, 7 days a week engagement. You can't just take days off and take days on and to be educated, informed, and engaged. And so that's where we, as a Democratic Party, have to do better in meeting folks where they are and helping folks understand how elections are tied to their everyday life, whether it's how much you pay for beef at the grocery store, how much gas pump, how much you pay in electricity, child care, student loans. There's not a thing, your alcohol, cigarettes up 8%. There's not a thing that happens in this world that's not tied to politics and political engagement to some degree. And so I think that's where we have to simplify how we talk about these things to help people understand that.
And thank you.
When you say we, you know, whose responsibility is that? Is it the politicians? Is it, you know, when you say we?
Well, I say we because I think all of us share some responsibility. I say we, and I'm including myself and Reverend Al because we game owners like that because we have platforms to talk about these things. But as we use our platforms to educate the collective we, then everyone else has to use their own individual platforms and microphones to educate and the other collective we that make up our community. And that does not just mean black. It does not just mean Democrat. I'm talking about lottie dottie and everybody because everybody is impacted by this reckless administration and this do nothing Congress.
I think also, Ray, that we is everybody, whatever, you may not have a media platform, but it could be in the barbershop, at the bingo table, in your church, in your house. All of us is we. There need to be coming out and stating all of this and saying to those that we know, that we had the discussions with, that was saying that voting doesn't matter. Well, you see how it matters now. Saying to those that didn't vote, you see how your vote helped to elect this. And I tell you something, some people will get defensive, but I have found to my surprise, some people say, you know, I never understood it like that, but I understand it now. So if you just tell 5 people, talk to 5 people in your family, 10 people in your social club. If you only get 1 or 2 of them, that's 1 or 2 more people that will be active, involved, and active in some way. I think that we all have an obligation to do the work on the ground. Thank you for your call. Let me try to get Tommy in here before you have to go. Tommy from Chicago.
Once again, from the hallowed halls of sanity, I'm needed to straighten out things in Nutsville. A pleasant afternoon to you, Reverend Sharpton, and I cannot tell you how much I love you, Antoine Seawright. There is nothing else to be said because they did not hear you, Reverend Sharpton. They don't hear you, Antoine Seawright. I'm not looking to go and talk to nobody because if the reality of your life at the so-called gas pump, at the so-called grocery counter, at the so-called prescription counter, if the reality of your life, when your lights, when your gas, when your water, when your taxes, if the reality of your life continues to allow you to live in the abyss, I want to leave everybody with this ancient Chinese proverbs. And it simply goes like this. You can endure a natural catastrophe, but a self-made catastrophe there are no words until Tommy gets involved and he asks, how damn dumb can you be at such a time as this, that the realities of tax-paying, law-abiding citizens of the United States, the Republican for which it stands, one nation under God and just us. Reverend Reality out. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you for your call. Now, I think that you could not have a more blatant and obvious example of the dysfunction of government in general and the specific negative policies, economic positions, and life and death. I mean, when we talk about ACA, we talk about life and death for many people with the Affordable Care Act. And you could not have a better example of a bizarre, totally ruthless mentality than to see a man and his wife possibly have killed by his son, and you make it about you and politics. So I don't know what you have to see in order for you to deal with this. And I think that's the message we ought to be able to say to people is, wait a minute, some things are within the realm of, I disagree with you on policy. I disagree with you on politics. But when we get down to this kind of stuff that's going on now, this is beyond just you a Republican, I'm a Democrat, you are radical, I'm centrist. We talking about just common sense. We talking about the affordability of healthcare. We talking about whether or not senior citizens can be insured. This is beyond all of the stuff that we would normally debate. And I think that's the message we've got to drive home to our relatives and friends. You would be surprised at those that do not understand what's going on, because if they listen to certain media outlet, they're telling them everything is fine. And even though they're going to the grocery store and the price of bread is up, somebody will act like something wrong with you when you are absolutely reading the right price tag on that. It has gone up. They're lying to you. You've been bamboozled, and you in a way that is effective, not calling them stupid, but saying, wait a minute, let's look at the facts. And I think that if we do that, I think the midterm elections can be the way out. But I think, Antoine, you said something that's right. We sat by and let them put 3 lifetime appointments on the Supreme Court. I have one grandchild. He and his children will be trying to dig their way out of this mess because of some uninformed, self-indulgent people that did not stand up and make sure that Trump did not get back in office to do this. And he told you what he was going to do. It wasn't like, I don't buy that thing about Rem, I didn't know. Yeah, if you didn't know, you wasn't listening and you wasn't reading, because he told you all that he was going to do. And you could tell yourself, oh, he's just talking. No, we told you he wasn't just talking. And he's proven it more than I could have ever made you understand it. All right, there's the music. I have to go. Let me thank Antoine Seawright. Let me thank all of you that called in, you that messaged in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. Talk to you tomorrow.